Hello and welcome back to the channel. I've got this rather ridiculous microphone here because it's a high quality microphone, but unfortunately it's got to be really quite close to where I'm actually making the noise, i.e. my face, which unfortunately means it's in the shot, so you've got the benefit of having this sitting there while I'm talking to you. In today's video, what I want to discuss is one image which I'll show you now, which I took in the Lake District 2 weeks ago when I was up there, and I spent quite a bit of time thinking about this image. I liked it a lot, but I wasn't sure how I was going to process it. So what I'm going to do is I'll switch across to screencasting in a few minutes, and I'll actually talk you through the edits that I made to get from this image as it is now, as you're seeing it, through to the image which I'm just about to show you, which is there. And I really like the stark black and white nature of this particular image. I very carefully framed this. I spent a long time thinking about it, and I moved backwards and forwards and left and right and all over the place with a view to getting what I thought would be quite a startling image. And I didn't want the routine everyday sort of picture down the lake type shots that people always get in the Lake District. I wanted to have the trees framing it, that old dead tree which was all on the beach at Buttermere, which is where the picture was taken. I wanted that to actually add to the picture, so I've carefully framed it so the tree is coming in from the top on both sides and coming along the bottom of the image and also across the image, and the mountains in the distance had to be, as much as possible, actually not cropped or branches going into them. So I had to do quite a bit of work in post-processing to remove the tiny bits of branch at the top of the screen, the top of the image in the far distant mountain. It was just cropping it, and I couldn't get round that as much as I tried moving backwards and forwards. So let's get on with it. We'll switch to screencasting, and then I'll talk you through how I edited the picture. Okay, here we are in Lightroom. I've got the image that I've just shown you here. This is the image that I started with. Best zoom out so that you can see it. That's the raw file straight out of my Sony A7R4. Now, I probably would crop this slightly differently and a bit tighter in on this side to remove some of this overhanging branch here, because I think it sort of pulls the eye away from the frame a little bit, makes it a little bit biased towards the left side. I've got one problem here, which is that the branches coming down are actually clipping into this distant mountain horizon line, which I don't want at all. I want, as far as possible, to be a reasonably clean edge around the mountains, at least this far distant mountain. I know I can't do that in the rest of the image because the branches are all over the place, but I just find that a distraction. So what I'll do is I'll set the levels. I usually run auto levels first just to get things closer, and I nearly always turn highlights right down because I don't want the sky blown out at all, and as we can see on the histogram, it isn't. We've got the shadows a bit blown here. In this part of the tree you can see the part flashing blue. That's where it's a little bit dark, so I'll just bring the blacks up so that that's not clipping. It's not clipping now, and there's detail in the tree here. So what I'm first going to do is I'm just going to crop this in a little bit tighter, and what I want to do is get to the point that this branch here isn't coming up the screen, but that one's coming in, and I also don't want this branch at the top, so that top left hand corner here is where I'm happy with that, and I just want to crop in slightly on the right hand side as well, just to balance it a bit more, so that this branch here is actually going out of the frame on the diagonal, which I find much more satisfying. So I'm going to accept that, and I've noticed it's also not level, so the next thing to do, even though I've got a camera with a bubble on it and a tripod with a bubble on, I nearly always end up with something very slightly out. So that's now reset that, so that's now a level horizon, which is one of my bugbears. I don't like unlevel horizons. I'm going to turn the dehaze up quite a bit to give a bit more contrast. I'm going to bring the shadows up a bit more, like so, and that image is now starting to look pretty good. And as I said in a few moments ago, this piece of branch here is a problem for me, so I'm going to attempt to clone that out. And the way I'm going to clone it out is I'm going to start with the bit that's inside, or at least on the area where the mountain is, and paint that. and that's done a pretty good job of pulling a section from just slightly further down the mountain up to here, which I'll accept for the moment, so we'll say OK for that. Now you might notice there's a little bulge there. I'm going to fix that. So I'm going to zoom right in so that I can see what I'm doing more accurately. There's a few issues there still, so I'm just going to deal with those, which is to that one and that little tiny bit there. Right, so no one's going to notice those edits. The mountain's looking pretty good. There's a little problem here, but I'll deal with that in a minute. So the next piece of cloning I want to do is to basically clear the branches away from the mountain, and I'm going to do that by taking that section, and it's copied a piece in from over there, which is okay. I'll accept that. No one's going to notice it, but there is an area here which I need to do, so I'm just going to mark that bit, and I'm going to pick a piece of sky from nearer this side to use as the basis for that. Now it needs to be brighter, so it's going to have to be this side. Yeah, that's a pretty good match, and there is now that little bit of mountain to deal with. So what I'm going to do is take a piece of ridgeline from somewhere else on the image and put it here, and that's not too bad. There's a tiny piece there that needs dealing with, so I might just clone that and copy a piece from somewhere else. Where's it copied that from? It's copied it from there, but it needs to be a bit more distinct, so I think we'll take it from there, and there's a little bit of ridge there sticking up, which I don't really think anyone's going to notice, so I'm just going to tidy that little bit of branch there up. That's looking better. Now I will deal with that tiny little bit of ridge there that's not quite where I want it to be, so let's find a piece of suitable edge. Now that's looking pretty good. We zoomed right in, so by the time we zoomed out again, that's not going to look too bad. I'm just going to take a piece of that branch off there as well, because it's getting a little bit too close to the mountain for my liking, so I'll just trim it back up to here and hope it finds. It did. A nice piece to use to replace that, and this is a little bit, I'm just going to trim that branch there a little bit more if I can get away with it. Now hopefully one more little bit to do. No, I think I'll leave that as it is. It's just starting to get a little bit funny. I'm not sure I can do much more with that now. So if I zoom out, it's not very easy to see that at all. And if I had more time, I'd go into Photoshop and clone it properly using the Photoshop's cloning tool, which would give me more freedom to pick where I'm picking the sky from. But from the point of view of showing you what it is here, that's adequate. So I've now got an image which is quite nice. It's quite nicely balanced. I feel the mountain's the focal point, and it's been framed by the tree. So if I had more time, I'd probably clone this little branch out here and this little branch here so that the mountain is more obvious. In fact, I will do that because I think it's worth doing. So the first thing we'll do is just take that bit off, and that is not a good source location for that bit of change. That will do for that. And now to get rid of the branch itself, and hopefully it'll find something. It's found something adequate for that. So the next thing to do is see if we can get rid of that bit, and that's not perfect at all. So let's see if we can adjust the different pieces to make that a better. Let's move. It's that one I need to move. I need to move that one up. out the other way. There's a little bit of a delay in this. Okay, that's nowhere near as obvious, and we've got a little bit of a hangover here of something which isn't quite what I was hoping for. Let's move that. Nope, that didn't work. Reverse that. I nearly always pick the wrong handle and move the wrong thing, but I'll have to clone over that. Let me clone over that piece of branch again, and it'll hopefully find something better to put there, which it has. Okay, so that's nearly there. There's a tiny bit of branch there I just want to get rid of. It's done that, and there's a little black dot there which looks a bit incongruous, so let's just clone that out. Okay, so that now is starting to look pretty damn good. So I did say I wanted a contrasty black and white image, so I'm going to switch this across to black and white, and I'm going to take the dehaze up even more, and that's now quite a contrasty image. I'm going to bring the whites up so they're nearly clipping, which is just there, which is nice, and I'm going to bring the blacks up a bit more, and that works. I like that. I'm going to mask the sharpening, so I'm only sharpening the basics on the image, which is about there, which works nicely. I'm going to put a little bit of noise removal on there just in case there's a bit of graininess, and I'm now going to vignette it, which will mean I'll have to bring the light levels up a bit more to counter that. So let's just bring the whites up till they're nearly clipping, which is there, and I'll take the shadows up more, and I'll bring the blacks up a bit more as well. In fact, I might actually just raise the overall brightness and take the white levels down to stop them clipping. Now that now is quite a nice contrasty image. I like that, and that is going to be what it is that I show you in the rest of the video. So I hope that's worked. I will pause that there, and we'll talk to you again in a minute. Okay, I hope you found that interesting. I think the image was quite a pleasant image. It's not going to win any awards, but it was a nice image nevertheless. So what I'm going to do is thank you very much for watching. If you liked it, please give it a thumbs up. If you didn't like it, don't bother watching anything further after this. And if you like what I produce on the channel, please subscribe. The numbers are growing. I'm doing this channel for you guys, so it's as much for you as it is for me. I have to put the effort and time and trouble into making them, and I like to get feedback, so please leave comments, hopefully not too negative, and I'll see you on the next video.